got my diagnosis on my van from the mechanic. They've been working on my van for the last day, since yesterday and today. Yesterday, they went out to start it, and it was having issues. The battery was dead or drained or whatever. The computer reader, where they can plug in the computer to see what's going on, the fuse was completely shot going to that, which I knew, because I couldn't check codes for the last 2 weeks I had the van. So they replaced those, and they were getting like conflicting codes, and then they started tearing some things apart. And today they realized that there were things like wired together that shouldn't even be affiliated with one another. So he had to do a lot of wire tracing today to fix all that. And then they got the van started, and that's when they figured out that my cylinders were flooded. I wasn't having misfires. Well, technically I was having misfires in the cylinders, but they were flooded. I don't know how the van drove with that issue, but it did. But if I would have continued driving the van under that circumstance, I would have had more issues, or even bigger issues with the engine and all that stuff. So it's a good thing I went and turned the van into the shop when I did, and just didn't drive it and waited for them to get to it. So tomorrow and tomorrow and Thursday, we're going to be working on removing the housing to where the fuel injectors are, because they're stuck open. They're going to be cleaning the cylinders. They're going to be taking the housing off to get into the cylinders, cleaning everything, flushing everything. They're doing a lot of maintenance to it that has probably never been done to this vehicle ever. From the looks of it, it looks like the guy tried to cheap out on like cheap parts for it. Like the fuel injectors, we know that they're not going to be any good because they're stuck open, letting the cylinders fill up. So he probably bought like a very cheap, ineffective part for the fuel injectors. So they're going to replace that for me. Overall, by the time they finish with the van, it sounds like I should have it back by Friday, Monday at the latest. They're closed on the weekends. They don't work Saturday or Sunday. So if by chance they get to it on Friday and they're like, oh, there's one more thing that we should do, I told them to just do everything they possibly can do, because I don't have to wait another week or 2 weeks in the future if something goes wrong, or if I have to take it back for them to finish the job. I'd rather them just finish the job now and be without the van another weekend if I have to. But it sounds like if they get the parts in time and everything, because they can get parts within the same day, it does sound like they're going to be able to finish it by Friday. And it's looking like with labor and everything, because they're working on it for the entire week, it's going to run me close to about $2,000, maybe a little bit less than that. He's going to let me know, closer to the end of the job. But a rough estimate around $2,000 worth of repairs. But they have done a lot, and they're doing a lot. So it's not like I'm paying $2,000 for just one thing. I don't know if anybody knows anything about retracing wires and rewiring the van or vehicles and replacing wires. That's actually the most expensive and time-consuming thing that they did, because that took them 2 days. I don't even know if they finished with it yet. They could still be working on that tomorrow. I assume that they finished with it because they moved on to the engine, but yeah, brake toaster. Oh, it's because it's a friend of a friend, and my friend talked to them and basically said, he told him my situation, and they do cut deals for family and friends and stuff like that. And because it's somebody that I know's friend's place or whatever, he got me the hookup. I mean, to an extent, I'm still being charged labor, but they're not charging me like full labor price. I think they charge like $100 an hour typically, and if you do the math for a week's worth of work, they're definitely not charging me full price plus parts and all that stuff. But I will say it's looking on the positive side, because the way I look at it is, and I told you guys this last time when I got the van running for the last 6 weeks that I've been driving it. I told you guys eventually I was going to have the entire thing serviced and have some things redone before I moved into it. I just didn't know when, and the last couple of weeks I was thinking about it. I was like, the van was driving pretty rough. I mean, you all heard it stall out again when I was backing up, and it did that a week before as well. And I was like, the last time it did that was when it wouldn't start for 2 days before I fixed it the first time. Well, I didn't fix it. I fixed one of the issues, and it was still starting, but then my starter went, and then remember I had that done by somebody else. But the issues with the van now are a little bit too complicated for that person to be able to work on it. So, plus they didn't have all of the things they would need. Starter was an easy replacement. But anyways, when I get it back, it'll be fully functional. I won't have any issues with the van unless it's something minor or like an oil change or just regular maintenance things, because that's what they're doing now. Anything that looks old, like it's about to break, or they feel like I should take care of it now while they got the engine opened up, they've been doing. Like, I didn't tell them to mess with the wiring or anything. They just did that on their own. Because I basically told them, whatever you see that looks like it could cause serious issues for me, fix it. But in terms of like the transmission, the engine in itself, other than the flooding of the cylinders, he said everything looks good. You don't have any oil leaks, or nothing major. He said there was like a minor oil leak, which also could have just been gasoline leaking out. They're also fixing my air conditioning for me. I mean, the air conditioning wasn't really broke. It was just the blower or the fan that wasn't getting power or whatever, due to a horrendous electrical wiring job by the previous owner. I feel like the previous owner just like jimmy rigged everything he possibly could because he didn't want to pay a mechanic to fix it. That's what it looked like and sounded like he did, because the guy said like there were wires touching that could have caused the fire eventually if he didn't rip it all out of there and replace it. But he said eventually my van probably would have caught on fire at some point, especially if I was living in it and driving it a lot. If I would leave it running for a while I'm charging my batteries, it could have caused a lot of issues. And that's exactly why I wanted to take it to a mechanic, a trained professional, a shop that's been around for years, that's well known and trusted, and they're doing a good job with it. So, the only thing that sucked was having to wait 2 weeks. Hey JM. That was the only thing that sucked, was having to wait 2 weeks for them to, or almost 2 weeks. It wasn't 2 full weeks, it was like a week and a half. Definitely 2 weekends before they got to it. That's what made it feel like it was 2 weeks. Meanwhile, I got all of these things coming in from Amazon, stacking up in the corner at the house, waiting to be installed. I got, I talked to Gerald today to give him an update on the van as well, and he's on standby for this week, and if I get the van back on Friday, then we'll work on it this weekend. If I get the van back next week, then we'll start installing stuff during the week. We're not going to wait till the weekend. he's said he's willing to come over a couple hours before I got to go to work each day, as long as it's nice out, because everything that we're doing is cutting into the van, and like we got to put the exhaust fan in. We're gonna have to drill a hole in the roof to do that and seal it. It's got to be dry when we do that. We got to put the window in. We got to put the little shore power outlet on the side of the van to plug an extension cable to charge my van batteries. We got to put the solar panels in. That's gonna be fun. I feel like oh yeah, and so I ended up going with a 30-gallon water tank bladder. It's not a solid plastic box. Remember, I was going to do the over the wheel well thing, but they were out of them. Hey, what's up? Oh yeah, Toaster. Yeah, G-Dog. Yeah, the over the wheel well thing, it was completely out of stock, and the price went up on it over $200, and the only other ones that they had were just rectangular shaped, and I was like, well, if I have to go with a rectangular shaped one, I might as well go with the bladder bag, and we'll build our own box around it. So that's what we're gonna do. Those bladder bag tanks or whatever can withstand pretty much anything. They're very durable, but we're going to secure it. Gerald is building me a kind of a rectangular shaped case that we're going to put the bladder bag in. We're going to cut a hole in the wood for where the plumbing hooks up to the hookups to the bladder bag. It's actually got the plumbing hookups built into the bladder bag, so it's pretty nice actually. It only costs $38 for the thing. It'll probably only cost about $20 worth of wood that we need to build the box. So he's gonna build that into the bed, which is actually gonna add to the bed as another structure to the bed framing or whatever. And that way it doesn't slide around, nothing's going to penetrate the bladder bag, it's gonna be encased completely. In fact, we're gonna be using this like foam type stuff for padding on the inside of the box. Not that we even need to do that, but we're gonna do it anyways, just, you know, have extra safety with that. And I'm still gonna build it over the wheel well, so it'll work out that way. We're just gonna build it. So I got that in, bladder bag came in. So we actually have a lot of shit that we can do. So I have to pay $2,000 for the van repairs, but like, for example, say they finish it this Friday, I only have to pay half of it, which I have the money. I'm gonna pay half of it, like $1,000, and then just make payments over the next 3 weeks to them, and then pay it off that way. But because I'm paying for that, I wouldn't have been able to buy more shit for the van to do this weekend. But because I had already ordered all this shit, and other people ordered some of it for me, I have all these items, and so I have stuff we can do for the next week without having to buy more shit. Basically, once we get all the wiring done next weekend, I'm going to, not this weekend, but the next weekend, I'm going to buy the batteries for the electrical system so we can get that all hooked up. I got a circuit board that I'm getting through Amazon to hook up all of the stuff in the van to that, to have like everything on its own fuse and direct wiring path, and switches, shut-off switches in the back, an emergency shut-off switch up front, just for safety, you know. So once all of this stuff is installed and put in, like all of the major components, really the only thing left to do is to finish building the cabinets, the bed, which we already have the materials for that, the wall paneling, the ceiling paneling, installing the lights to the ceiling, just staining all of the paneling itself, and then hooking up the plumbing basically once the cabinets are in. So that's pretty much it. Then it's basically what I would consider done to be able to move into. I mean, the only other thing would be the air conditioning, but I'm waiting to basically like the last week before I move into the van to have Gerald help me put that in as well. We're gonna have to cut into the roof, so that's going to cost like $700 to $800 for the AC unit. So that will be a couple weeks worth of paychecks. But all in all, I'm happy that I'm finally going to get the van back, and everything is going to be done correctly. See, I'd rather a mechanic charge me a lot of money for something like this and have it done correctly than go somewhere where they charge me $500 and it breaks down on me in a week, you know. This mechanic doesn't even have a single bad review from anybody, online, in person. Lots of people know them in person. They do a really good job. Like, and if they do make a mistake, because everybody makes mistakes, not likely, but they would replace it and, you know, not charge me, of course. So it'll be nice to get the van back. I'm excited up by the door, and I've been waiting so long to be able to get all of this shit, and I get all the shit and then I had nothing to put it in. So I'd say over the next couple weeks things are going to start really coming together really nice for the van. And actually I'll be making up a lot of time too over the next week. Everything that was ordered will be installed by next weekend, so that will be really cool. I know people have been missing the van build lives, but they'll be coming very soon. Very soon. And even better, I'll be moving into the van very soon as well, so that would be cool. And I will be doing a video tomorrow. I'll be going to film. I got their permission to go and film them working on my van a little bit, with more serious issues, and I will talk a little bit more with them about what was wrong with it, because I'm sure they haven't even told me everything that they've done or everything that they're planning on doing. Hey, what's up, Anthony? Yeah, so they're going to let me, you know, get some video shots tomorrow. I'm not going to bother them while they're working on it. I'm just going to film what they're doing and, you know, briefly talk about what's going on with the van and give them a shout out, you know, whenever they finish. I'm going to wait till they finish it. But when they finish it and I get the van back, then, you know, we'll give them a shout out and I'll do a video premiere for that. And I know I have some people that follow my YouTube channel from that area, so hopefully they'll get some business out of it, you know, especially since they're cutting me a break on the labor costs. And I don't think they're charging me for every single little thing that they've done to it. Just basically any parts that they had to buy and some of the labor costs. So even if I get them a couple of customers or whatever that follow me and they're in the area, you know, that will help them out a lot. So it doesn't sound like they need customers right now because they're very busy. It took them a week and a half to get to my van. So, but who knows? I'm sure they have a slow season. It's summertime right now. Everybody's vehicles are in the shop after winter time because, you know, winter up north here completely obliterates your engine and your vehicle. So fortunately I haven't had to drive the van in the winter up here yet, so I'm sure the issues would be a lot worse if I did. Transmission is good, everything's good on it except for a couple things. You know, figured out the major issue. The $1 million question for the last 6 weeks. What the fuck is wrong with the van, actually? I will say I was partially right. My diagnostics was partially right. He said that distributor I had in there before was shot the fuck out, and that was, he would have replaced that if I didn't. And I was somewhat right about the fuel injectors. I knew that they were something was wrong with them. And I was correct. Except they were like really fucked up, apparently. Also too, a lot sooner than I had intended, I think I'll be getting a roof topper put on my van a lot sooner. Probably within 3 months of moving into the van. I was originally going to wait till like sometime next year, or at the beginning of next year. But I actually found a place in Pennsylvania that does it, and they have like custom fiberglass tops. And it's about a 5-hour drive for me. It's not too bad. It's worth it. But for the cost of the fiberglass top, it's going to end up running me about $3,200. And that's if I don't go with their AC units that are built into it. I'm going to have my own AC unit that we could just transfer over to theirs. It's going to be the same size AC unit, actually. So anyways, in 3 months, I'm saving up to do that. I'm going to set aside about $1,000 a month is the plan, half of my paycheck, or half of my monthly income anyways, or close to half of it anyways. So that will be nice. So we're not going to go too crazy with the ceiling. I'm going to do the wood panelings. We're just going to do we're going to screw them in so I can unscrew them, then remove them, and very light wiring in the ceiling. We're going to still do the puck lights and all that, and we're going to leave a lot of slack with the wires, or, you know, the wires that are run into the ceiling. We're going to leave a lot of slack so then when we get that roof topper put in, I can run those same lights all the way up to the top of that ceiling. And then I'll just redo the wood paneling for the ceiling at that point. So that's going to be cool. I'm excited to have a ceiling in that van eventually that I can stand up on and get it done rather quickly. So there's another update for you guys. I don't think I made a community post about that yet, but I talked to the place that's going to do that for me, and I'm going to put like a down payment once I move into the van. Like the first couple weeks that I get paid, I'm going to just throw them like a $500 deposit to you know, set aside a unit for me, or get one ready for my van. So they do a lot for my type of van, and the Astro van. Like the main one that they do is the Astro vans, but they have a lot of cool looking toppers for the Chevys and the GMCs and the Ford Echolines, I think they're called. Same type of version of my van. So that will be cool. I'm gonna cut my roof off like a can, and a can opener basically. So yeah, we're not gonna go too crazy with the roof. But I will say I've been very fortunate to have a loaner vehicle this entire time. You know, this entire thing could have been a lot worse. I could be having to pay an arm and a leg for a rental vehicle right now, and having to spend like, you know, a third of my paycheck on that each week, and I didn't have to do that. So not only that, but I saved a lot of money in gas driving this to and from work each day than the van. So in a way, I was able to set aside even more money. Alright guys, well that's about it. That about wraps this up. I just wanted to let people know what the hell is going on, and when you can expect for me to do some more streams of the van build. And because I'm in such a tight or crunch time here and having to finish the van up, Gerald is going to be helping me finish the van through the remainder of the build as much as he can. He was definitely a huge help because he's very, as you can see, he's very skilled in carpentry and has a lot of tools that I don't have, that I would end up having to rent or borrow. And just having him there really speeds up the process, and I get to watch him and learn, you know, how he's doing things. So in the future, I might be able to do some things that he's doing. But I'm going to be getting home here shortly, and I'll be doing a game stream tonight. Just chilling out. Freaking tired. It's been a long day at work, just standing up nonstop. And I get to see the kittens when I get home. I freaking love those kittens. I wish I could steal one when I move into the van, but I can't. Honestly, I think 2 animals in that van would be too much, even though it's a cat. I don't know where I'd put a cat box. Honestly, I don't want to know where I would put a cat box. I don't think I'd want to step in litter ever. It's impossible to not step in litter if you have a cat, because they knock it out of them. So, Valentina's enough. But Valentina will get the visit every now and then. If I'm planning like a adventure trip where I can't really take her, rather than her be cooped up in the van while I'm out. She's always got a friend she could go back to and hang out with. She likes the cats there. By the way, that moon is incredibly bright tonight. Look at that moon. It's crazy. It's like lighting everything up more than the headlights on this car. Alrighty guys, well I hope you all have a great evening, and I'll see you all in the next one. Peace.